not familiar with this channel, this is Steve's Art and Fun channel. You know, I'm just gonna try to explain this as short as possible, and I apologize because I feel like usually on this channel I'm really long-winded, and I guess because when my goal is to make a video for more or less the sake of making content, which is not necessarily always a good thing. Sometimes, because I'm ranting, I have a habit of dragging along the subject because I'm focused on more or less explaining, venting, nailing and hammering a concept home into someone's head, into people's heads that are listening. You know, so I apologize for that. You know, I'm apologizing for that if you're familiar with my channel at all. And you know, I'm also introducing you into this channel if you've never like listened to a rant or whatever. So something I have to talk about on this channel is a couple of things. Now, one, I'm trying to move this channel in a different direction, and I don't want this to be like super angry rants where there's a bunch of cursing and I will, you know, never be able to have anything monetized if it even gets that popular, because it's just too dirty and it's just too much, you know. And I will pick and choose which videos that I'm going to have fun with quotation marks, you know, because I still have to have fun, I still have a sense of humor. If you were to know me personally, like let's say you're a person that knows me personally, you would get that I have barely no filter. I mean, like, when it comes to jokes, me joking around, I have a very dirty sense of humor. I would like to think I have a good sense of humor, but I'd say it's a rotten sense of humor, an immature sense of humor, you know, so that is what it is. But, you know, I'm gonna say on this channel, how do I say this? I'm trying to say that, like, I try sometimes to make videos to where we don't address serious, real-world issues, but I often find that it's too important to me not to address it sometimes because it's disgusting, like I talked about, and I'm just gonna say the whole pedophilia issue that we have going on in the community and in the media, you know, where it's like they're trying to normalize pedophiles and pedophile-like things, you know, and that's going to tie into part of some stuff I'm going to rant on this video, you know, like, and I mean, I'll just say it like this, man. So, you know, if you watch my channel, you already know I'm a Satanist. I consider this a satanic channel. But some people may think, oh, well, if you're a Satanist, does that mean that you're okay with all that pedo stuff? Does that mean that you're okay with all that nonsense? Nah, I'm not down with all that nonsense. Well, who I am is, I'm a black man, I'm straight, and I like women. What you would normally expect. You know what I mean? Nothing that you wouldn't expect. It's just where people get it twisted is they think, oh, because, you know, you're a Satanist, you're supposed to be down with all this other stuff. Like, I'm so, what do you think I am? Like, what do you think that I am going to all of a sudden turn into a homosexual or turn into a pedophile or something, or agree with people who are pedophiles or pushing a pedophile agenda, or who are trying to push a gay agenda to turn straight people or to turn straight young people into homosexuals so they can be manipulated in whatever way, whether that's for financial gain or it's some deviant, and I am not saying anything that's cursing or anything right now, so just talking about real stuff, but it's real threat. You know, who are of that type of mind and framework, you know, so what I really want to talk about is like real danger versus fake danger. You know, like fake danger is actual real homophobia. You know, like people thinking that like just a general person that is gay is a deviant or is a bad person or something, or it tries to be deceptive or prey on people or something like that. That's not true necessarily. That's not like part of the package. You know, someone is gay, they automatically have all these evil traits, and they have ill will for you or for your children or whatever or something. It's not that. You know what I mean? The real danger is this. Things like what I've observed, like I've observed this, right? I've actually observed this living in this city. It's like how it's not just immigrants either, but I'm just gonna say this. Like you get some people who they're immigrants and they come from other countries, and they come over here, and I can tell like, okay, this guy is a pedophile. Like this this guy likes young boys, men, and mostly younger. He likes younger boys and stuff. And people aren't noticing this, but I see this very clearly. You know, this man is into, and this guy is friggin' immigrant. You know what I mean? These guys are immigrants, man. So it's like you're not even born here. You came over here with this crap. So it's like you took that pedo crap, and then you came to my country, and then you wanted to play this secret pedo game, your nasty little deviant self, and then you know, people who aren't that observant or vigilant don't notice, or people who really don't understand how to like observe behaviors or observe people, or to even some cases like track things. They don't understand. They don't understand that like I do. Like they don't sometimes won't pick up on things, and I will. You know, I'll notice it, and I'll understand sometimes what's actually going on. You know what I mean? In like a framework of a community or area or something, or like some other people aren't really understanding what's going on. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Let it go right under your nose or wherever, and just, you know, not even know that it's happening. Meanwhile, these people, probably, I'm trying to keep this clean so I won't be graphic and use my humor and stuff, but let's just say they have some ill intentions for your children, especially depending on what gender your children are. So, with that being said, I'm not going to be long-winded with that. Now, you know that this is a satanic channel, and you also know that I am the nastiest man on YouTube. Jokingly, I like to call myself that. You know, I'm the nastiest guy on YouTube. I'm the inverted God figure, 666, devil, whatever you want to call it, whatever. Of course I'm that person. I've always been that person. I will always be that person. So what you get with me is, which I don't know to call a plus or a negative, is this. You get a guy who wants to do all the fun stuff, is into all the satanic stuff, and, you know, is the fun wild party guy. But at the same coin, you don't get, with me, you don't get the sissy boy, homo, we're trying to be sissy trap boys, we're trying to turn everything soft and sissy, we don't want any guns, we don't want our scantily clad women anymore, we don't even want women anymore, you know, we want to be sissy hippy dippy boys and trap sissy boys and you know, queer boys and all this soft shit. Oops, there was a curse. Oh, dang it! I tried not to curse, but it slipped out. Well, there we go. Well, I'm gonna just keep it moving. Maybe I'll even bleep that out because I want this to be more clean. But you get my point. You get these guys in modern days, and it's like they think that if you're satanic, you're supposed to be a sissy, right? No, I'm not by any means no sissy. You know, so I like women. I like to party. I'm the fun guy. So what you get with me is you get all the dark satanic stuff, if you will, but you don't get any of it with me. You you're gonna get the same guy that probably used to bully you in high school, basically. You're gonna get the guy who isn't playing the games of the sissy game and the no firearms game and trying to make everything queer game and all that. With me, you don't get any of that bullcrap, okay? But you get all the dark things that tend to actually put people off and scare most people because they just don't understand that side of the world or that side of spirituality or existence. They don't really understand that stuff, you know. So that's the dynamic on this channel, okay? If you're wondering, so it's not a conservative channel. It's not a what's the word? I don't even know what to call that other thing. It is not a flippy dippy channel. It's not an inny-outy channel. You know, it's just a channel. You know, it's not inny-outy. It's not flippy dippy. It's none of that. But the thing is, this is I just keep it real. You know, I explain who I am and my dislikes and likes and my beliefs. And come on, what's up? What's up, my charger? My charger doesn't. Okay. Oh, there we go. So. Like I said, with me, you're gonna get, yes, do I believe in certain things? Like, yes, am I pro-Satanism? Yes. Am I pro-left-hand path? Yes. Do I believe in those things? Yes. Am I what you would call, like, I guess with quotation marks, evil? Of course, of course, you know? So you talk about the light side, the dark side, the inversion of the light or whatever. That's me. But I'm not like one of those people who also is on all this other, like, I don't even know what it is, man. I don't know what it is with these people with all this like sissy queer stuff. I don't want to be mean and say it that way, but that's the only way I can describe it, as it's this sissy queer type of stuff. Like, you don't want, like, guns have to be obliterated. Like, what are we doing trying to take, like, I was talking to someone at work about this, right? I was talking to someone about work, like, why is it that you want to take everything that straight men like? Like, we like guns. We like scantily clad women and pinup girls. We like things like that. We like what you call toxic masculinity. Like, that is us. Okay? You can't, you're not going to take, you're not taking that from us. You're not taking anything from us, actually. Okay, and I'm trying to not get angry on this rant, but I'm just explaining. No one is taking it. Like, look at this. Listen to this, man. I get up in the morning to go to work almost every day. Do you think that I'm going to let a person take anything from me? Like, everything I do, I have to work for, and there's a reason and an end goal to everything. If you think that you're going to somehow take things that people rightfully deserve and erase my what's the word? My identity, or erase someone's identity, or take that away from them, then you have about, I'm going to try to keep it, but read between the lines. You probably know what I'm about to say, right? You'll find yourself in a very deep, dark place, about 6 feet, okay? You get my point, right? I don't have to really explain that. You're not changing anything, okay? That's my point. And this is the thing, you can't ever kill people like me. Guys like me, there's always going to be someone else, okay? Because you can't kill the original man. You can't change that, right? You can't change a warrior spirit. You can't kill that. That's never going to go away. You're not going to cage that. You're not going to change that. You're not going to turn that into some queer, hippie, soft, docile thing. You don't control things like this, okay? Like someone like myself, you can't control that type of energy, okay? That's the type of energy that's going to, like they say, you know, you create a monster and then the monster, I'm trying to keep this more, you know what I'm saying? Let's just say you create the monster and then the monster expires you. That's what I'm trying to say. You will be expired. You don't control this type of energy. This 666 stuff, you don't control this, okay? If anything, you will end up being controlled. You're not toxically masculine men and toxically things were conservative and Christian. No, that's not the. It's never been that. It's actually never been that. Okay, it's never been that. Only some people will try to turn it into that. And someone will say, "What are you even talking about?" Well, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then we don't even be on the tip. So, with that being said, I wanted to say that in this rant, you come on media and you see these things, you see these videos, and once in a blue moon, you see something where they talk about like this whole uncanny valley thing. You know, they talk about the uncanny valley, and I never understood what it was until I actually researched it. I'm like, what the hell are these people talking about? Is the uncanny valley somewhere in like Yellowstone? Where's the uncanny valley? Is that a place? You know, like what is this? So no, the uncanny valley is when like something has traits of a human being, but those traits have something missing, or something is amiss to the point to where it starts to be freaky because it is like you're it's almost human enough for you to tell like, okay, this is human, but then there's something's off to where it brings danger signs. You know, it sends off alerts in your brain subconsciously to where you're like, okay, this thing doesn't is not necessarily quite normal, and I feel a sense of danger, and that's a real thing. And that's actually something where I, like any normal person, suffered from more in my like younger years and earlier years. Because yes, obviously things like that scare you. That's the whole reason why like monster movies, alien movies, that's why things like that scare people, because they look at it and they think, oh man, I should be afraid. Like I should be, you know. But see, this is what I was gonna say. It's all BS actually. It's all it's all an illusion actually. It's really just an illusion. And I'm gonna tell you how you really break that illusion and get over that whole fear of things like that, of the unknown. The illusion is that you're actually in danger, first off, because you may not be in danger. The thing is, you just don't understand that yet. You know what I mean? You don't understand. You may not understand that you're not necessarily in danger. What the point? The problem is this. The problem is, what you may not understand is you don't understand that a being that you're not exactly so used to may not have even any intentions towards even approaching you. Even, you know what I mean? It may not even have the intention of even approaching you. Like, it may just be trying to mind its own business, to go somewhere else, whatever, just observing you or something. So it's not always like this Hollywood BS about, you know, a monster or something, or a creature just wants to like jump on you and like assault you or whatever, friggin' maim you, or it's all, people are always thinking these crazy thoughts. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, you probably have a better chance that a person would be wanting to do something deviant than some type of other creature. It's probably a higher percentage that another human being probably has intentions or thoughts like that towards people than some unknown being. You know, so that's something I had talked about in this rant about this whole uncanny valley rant that they got, you know, talking about the uncanny, like, you know, in I've talked about this before, and this channel is really weird because I feel like this channel is almost like a niche for some people, probably, because most people don't even think like this, but I'm just that guy, so I figure I'll admit it, I don't have a lot to really bring to this channel's table. Now, I do have some things to bring to this channel's table, but that's stuff that you'll see me doing in a future time, you know what I mean, where I'll actually be on camera and I'll actually be doing other things. But for now, ranting like this, I'll admit, I don't really have much to bring to the table necessarily to talk about on this channel opposed to other people, except that I just have a different mentality, and different attributes that a lot of people don't have. So I'm just going to use that. I'm just going to talk because most people, if they're not like me, they're not going to be able to honestly talk on these things because that's not honestly them. You know what I mean? So my thing is this, right? This is my opinion on that whole thing. Honestly, half of that stuff is just for softer people. I'll be real. That's for soft. I'm not gonna curse, but that's for soft people. Like, to think like, oh well, I'm gonna freak out because I'm afraid of this entity or whatever. Like you see these Dogman videos and stuff, and you see that, and these people think that they're actually rational, but in reality, you're really just soft. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you're soft, but you don't know it. You know, and you don't really know who else is out here. You don't know what type of other people are out here. You know, and some people say, well, oh well, you would be scared too. No, this is the thing. I wouldn't be scared. You have to understand what scared means. You can know that you're in danger. It doesn't mean that you're scared. You know, irrational thinking is thinking that you have to be in danger. Do you get what I'm saying? If you think that you have to be in danger, well then that's irrational. If you're being cautious, that's more rational. Okay, if you're thinking with the primitive part of your brain, then you won't research, like, is there a possibility that this creature or things are not harmful, right? That they're not, well, that they may not be aggressive is more or less what I'm trying to say. Once you realize that that's a possibility, you can start thinking a little bit more rationally in coming to different conclusions, right? So that's actually part of the process. You know what I mean? And I mean, if you want to go even deeper, what you should look up on this while you watch this rant, like what you should look up later is you should look up something that's called they call the dark. I think it's called the dark night of the soul. It's like when your perception of things are basically shattered, like when your whole belief system or your whole way of thinking is kind of shattered. Like, for instance, you think, oh, well, that's just in horror movies. That doesn't exist. That's in sci-fi. That's not real, right? And then you realize at some point in your life that those things actually are real. And normally a person's first, how do I say this? Their first instinct would be to jump to a conclusion that they're in danger, like, because that's what they're trained to think. That's what they've seen in horror movies. That's their automatically trained to think is, okay, well now I'm in danger. Look, bro, you want to know the real truth? Technically, you're kind of always in danger when you're in this world. Okay, but that's a half truth. You know what I mean? That's not a whole truth. That is a half truth. That's like me telling you part of the story, but not telling you other parts. Okay, so that's kind of like a kind of a lie. Okay, so the truth is you're not always in danger. The point is, look, we live in this type of physical world to where if I were to take a piece of glass and push it into my hand hard enough, it's going to hurt me, right? That's the danger. Okay, that's the danger. Okay, you walk outside, you're crossing the street, but a drunk driver isn't quite quick enough to swerve and turn or put those brakes on right, and you get nailed, right, so hard by that car that either you die or there's irreparable damage done to your body. Now we live in that world of danger, right? That's what I'm trying to get across to you. And I'm trying to also explain that, like, there's way more things to this world that contradict what you'd think you would know about reality, or which you'd think you know about things, that you may want to realize that you're not necessarily always maybe in as much danger as you'd think, and that's mostly due to how like I said, how much more there is to what you think you see or think you know what I mean? So it's not always a negative. people necessarily like to jump to negative conclusions. Like, you want to think, okay, so does that mean there's even more danger? Well, yes and no. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean that there's more things out here, or more forces that are trying to protect you, more or less. Yes, it means that too. So you can't just jump to conclusions and be like, oh well, everything is negative, everything is worse. No, no, it doesn't mean that. That's not. You're missing the point. But the point I'm trying to make, with some of this uncanny valley crap, is now, and don't get it twisted either. It doesn't mean that you're going to think that, like, um something freakish is attractive. No, attractive is a perception in a what do you call it? An opinion, and it's very subjective. So, like, for one person, right? One person may find a reptilian, for instance, attractive, right? Male or female, regardless what that is. Someone will find that being attractive, right? And there are people who do. There are people who would see that being and find it attractive, right? But then there's another person that looks at it and says it's a monster, a freak, or it's an alien or something, or and that's their perception of what they feel is attractive, what they're sexually attracted to, right? Or what they think is beautiful or whatever, right? So, and it works vice versa. You know what I mean? From a different being to a human to a human to it works both ways. So what I'm trying to say though is the uncanny valley thing though is it's one of those things to where it is something you can get over. I'm not saying that you would ever be attracted to one of these beings. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying you could get over your fear of the freak out. You know, the freak out moment where it's like, oh, if you actually see one of these things and then you're like freaking out, you're going into a depression, you're trying to deny what you saw because, actually you actually haven't got over that hurdle of that uncanny valley crap where you're just like, I can't accept this. You know what I mean? This is too much, and I'm scared now, and I'm in a depression now. You're in a depression because you're scared. You know what I mean? That's not good. Like, see, that's one of the things that actually keeps us back as a race and a society. In every way it does. As a race, really, of human beings. That's one of the things that's always held us back. Actually, you know, because that holds us back from communicating with other intelligent beings. That stupid uncanny valley crap. Like, you see something's appearance and you're like automatically just freaked out and feeling like you're in danger. Like, it's like, that's not rational, man. One of the main reasons why us as human beings are cautious around each other is because we understand we've had experiences where we've seen people, or people have done things to us, or we've heard stories, and it's like, these are truly true things. These are things that have been proven, right? Like, I've said this before, like, you've never seen a reptilian or a, let's say, dogman creature, because those are some of the most, I guess, like, people are afraid of things like Bigfoot, but they're really afraid of things like, dogman, reptilian. They're afraid of more less primate, more predatory looking thing. They're really afraid of that. So, they look at that and they think, oh my god, this thing is like the essence of evil. You hear people will literally say things like that, like, um but it's not really it's not that. It's really not that. Like, there's a gray area, but it's not so black and white. Um what I'm trying to say is, you have never seen a trial, like, for instance, the O.J. Simpson trial, right? Like, O.J. Simpson is just a black man, right? He's not a alien. He's not a friggin' monster. Well, he is a monster, probably. But you get what I'm saying. He's a human being, is what I'm trying to say. He's still human, though. It's like, you've never seen a friggin' werewolf in a trial, right? Or you've never seen that before, right? There's never been a trial like, oh, this is so and so from here, and he murdered this family and blah blah blah, or she murdered, because you don't see that, right? So then how could you tell me, this is my thing, how can you just tell me that that creature in itself is going to just get violent just off of because you encountered it? Like, it's just in your backyard, or you just happen to see like two of them or whatever, or maybe you saw an adult and then a child, and it's like, how are you going to tell me that you're actually in danger? It's like there could be a family of bears, rummaging through your trash, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're in danger. You know what I mean? They just may want to get that trash and then get out of there. You know what I mean? Doesn't necessarily mean that if you push the envelope, maybe you may be in some danger if you try to go over there or whatever. And you have to understand, bears are less intelligent than these other things I'm talking about. So you probably could darn near have a form of a conversation with some of these creatures. You ain't having no conversation with a bear, you know what I mean? It's just not that intelligent. And that's another thing that makes it less rational, that you honestly think, a lot of you people out here, that you're in this danger zone. Now, I also have to say this. I'm going to probably cut it off like about here. So one of the issues with this is partly it's a Christian thing. Okay, so I have to speak on this because I have to speak on it. Now, I just have to. So there's a huge issue with Christians. Someone's going to say, you're already saying that because you're a Satanist. Okay, that's fair. That's fair enough that you come to that conclusion, and I'll level with that. But you also have to consider, what if I'm a Satanist because I've actually figured something out? Like, what if over my years of experience, or knowing certain people that have had encounters with certain things, what if over my years and years I've actually figured out that, certain things are more or less BS, and then there's more truth to certain things that you may be afraid of and you think is total BS, but there's more truth there than this mainstream, up in the air, hippy dippy nonsense that's mostly, because you got to think about Christianity. A lot about Christianity was pretty much stolen, manufactured, and then repackaged into what certain people wanted it to be to suit their own agenda at that time. Okay, so you have to understand, what I'm talking about is so much older, in widely believed, than what these Christians nowadays are trying to pump and push. What happens is you get a lot of these Christian people, and it's not just Christianity, it's also their irrational fears mingled in lack of understanding, mingled in with the fact that they're Christians. And you have to understand, a fearful mind, in a mind that is more of a slave mind, I'd call it, when you have more of a docile slave mind, you more or less would gravitate towards Christianity. You have to understand how there's way more to this than you would think. Like, someone will say, okay, well, what are you really saying then? So are you trying to tell me that inherently there's things in the framework of Christianity that is built in that would hook, line, and sinker a certain type of person and play on their actual weaknesses that they're predisposed to, depending on like all types of things, genetic makeup, race, temperament? That's exactly what I just told you. Do you want to believe that? Maybe not. You probably don't want to believe it, right? But I'm telling you the truth. You don't want to believe that. So you don't want to believe certain things. Okay, it's just like, for instance, like the trap of, like, let's say jail per se. I'll speak on that. Jail is another one of those traps that it has its purpose because it keeps bad people in. But another trap with jail is this: jail incarcerates good people that make poor decisions, and the reason why they're in there is because they let their temper, they let their greed, they let their whatever it was give them an illusion that they could escape that system. Like, they're like, oh, well, if I'm clever enough, I'll get out of here, right? They're thinking, if I find a way to not get away, then I'll make it out, right? But that was their illusion. Their illusion was that they thought that there was a way that they could escape it and beat the system, right? But they couldn't. Doesn't mean they're the worst person in the world. It just means that it snagged, like I said, hook, lines, and sinkers. It snagged them. It got them. And that's what a lot of these things do. They just play on things that they know people are weak in, and they get you in. Just like any other thing, like sales, for instance. They know you're impulsive. They know you want to buy items. They know that you love buying things, that you get this high when you buy a certain item. So they'll get you. You know what I mean? They'll play on that. They'll make something that's appealing, and that's pretty much how. That's just psychology. You know what I mean? But the thing is this: you're very naive if you don't believe that a lot of this Christian dogma, this Christian vibe, this whole Christian, this fear-mongering thing going on here, instead of telling you how to take something and get your own power from it and learn how to understand something, harmonize with it, and then harness that power for either yourself or even to bet in the betterment of other people, which is more of a noble thing, because you could go that route. Nothing's wrong with that. You could try to better other people instead of them trying to teach you how to take that power and use it for yourself. Instead, they want to keep you in bondage and then have you thinking that it makes you a better person, you're safe, or promising you even the nonsense of some heaven because you follow this, that, and whatever, but and that's what a lot of it is. A lot of it is that. So what I'm trying to say is this: I'm trying to say that there's a whole lot of BS going around, right? And oftentimes, one of the biggest ways that people try to perpetuate nonsense and BS is they want to try to make you feel like you belong. So they say, okay, if you're a person like myself, for instance, like Steve, they're like, okay, people aren't going to like you. People are going to want to fight you. People aren't going to like what you're saying. People are going to have ill will towards you because they just can't stand this that you're saying or that you're saying, or they don't like the way you dress, or they don't like this, or they don't like that, or it's always something, right? So what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to make you feel like you are in double danger if you don't conform to this, right? Like, so if you don't, what's the word? If you go along with the narrative, like you're like, oh yeah, I think we should do, even politically, you know what I mean? Like, no guns, everybody queer, sissy dippy, all bunch of nonsense, no one have any spine. It's okay if everything's all over the place. You don't have to have any order. You don't have to have any structure. You don't have to have any backbone. It's just everything just is like we're all sissies. You know what I mean? It's like literally everything is a pat on the back. Everybody gets a trophy for everything, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And that's BS. You know what I mean? Some people, what the mainstream media, which is one of a group of people who really perpetuates this, what they want to try to do is they want to say, if you want to just speak your opinion, like I do all the time, your true opinion, then you're technically going to be ostracized and shunned because that's not acceptable anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that's bigoted, that's homophobic, that's this, that's that, and all. They throw all these pile all this negative stuff on top of it. And the illusion is if any of that actually matters. None of that matters. And I'm going to cut it here. There's people out here who are making money, living their best life, living their happiest life. There's people out here who are spiritually in tune with themselves. There are people out here who are discovering new things, who are having wonderful experiences. And none of these people prescribe to any of that BS, right? So there's people just like you out there who will speak their mind and actually keep it real, as they say. there's no lynch mob. There's no, oh, these people aren't gonna like you. None of that stuff necessarily is a real thing. That's what I'm trying to get across with that. Like, none of that is actually. It's just, like I said, it's a tactic to control people, and it's fear mongering. It's you trying to use fear and irrational thinking against people. That's all it is. That's all these people do. That's all they always do. You know what I mean? You're always gonna get people who do this. They try to use those shady little tactics, and what it is they do it so much to the point to where literally you will have people thinking like that it's normal that that's the way they're thinking. So instead of thinking like, do you not remember this? Like, do you not know what you actually came from? Like, you have to actually really think of this. Do you not know that way back, some of your ancestors were warriors, kings, you know what I mean? Slaves, people that lived harsh, hard lives. And there was a point in time where they were not, like, they were in some situations to where they didn't have the luxury of even doubting nor believing certain things that you may actually believe and doubt. And they didn't have that. So you gotta understand, you're still that human being. You may think that this is the thing. You may think you're not. Like, you may think, oh, well, I'm this person and I got this job at freaking Target and this and that, and you know, I get up and I eat Cheetos, and they're like, okay, yeah, that may be your reality. But you really have to remember, you have to realize what you actually really are. You have to realize that the potential you actually have. And a lot of that potential, anything that you could accomplish or have in your life, you don't have to bow down to these, excuse my French, but I'm not going to say it, but you don't have to bow down to these deviants, these friggin' control freaks, these sissy boys, these choir boys. You don't have to bow down to these people. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, you need to give these people a nice backslap that maybe their father never gave them. You know what I mean? You need to really let these people know that you're not having it. Like, I don't care if the entire block is playing this game. I'm not playing this game, bro. You know what I mean? You have to let them know that you're not gonna bend and bow to this nonsense that these people are playing out here. You know, that's what I'm talking about. So you have to be the person where they're like, oh, I'm so scared, and it's like, you're like, I'm not scared. You know what I mean? Well, I'm not. I'm just different, you know. And then they're gonna get in their emotions and their feelings because they feel inadequate because they can't do that thing that you do. It's like they can't do what you do, so they're like, oh, you know. Well, maybe this is the illusion. The illusion is that they think that they actually can't. That's the illusion. They think that they have to be afraid. They think that they have to act a certain way. They think that they actually have to play along with the narrative that's being pushed in society so much. They think they have to play with that and play along with it. But that's an illusion. Like I said, that is just illusion in a way to try to control people. The real truth is you don't have to play along with any of that BS. You don't have to play along with any of it. You know, you can be your own person. And matter of fact, you will find, if you look hard enough, or if you just are patient enough, if that's what you really want, you know, even a support system, even, you will find other people. Like, you'll find people like myself, you know. So don't believe the horse crap about, like, oh, you know, everybody's like this now. Oh, in the high school, you know, that's not acceptable. No, it's not only is it acceptable, but it's natural and it's fine. Like, you don't buy into this crap. Don't buy into this crap that any part of this world tries to feed you. You know, even this whole, you know, fear mongering on people's fear of the unknown. You know, that's a big thing. You know, like that's most of what RANT is about. Like, you know, I'm trying to make these movies to where, you know, everybody's supposed to be scared of these monsters and these things. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, get out of here with that crap, man. Like what? Literally, what? Like what are you talking about, bro? Like you have to understand. There was a time when, okay, I'm gonna take it way back. There was a time period where we weren't even so evolved as humans as we are, and we were pretty much apes sitting on the dang ground with, nuts and berries. There wasn't no, we were, you know what I'm saying? Like we were little apes at one point, so we weren't scared of these things or anything. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Everyone's always scared or something. What are you even talking about, man? Like, what are you really talking about, bro? And that's what I mean. People always train human beings to accept some bullcrap. That's always the thing. Always want to train you to accept nonsense. You don't have to accept it. That's really what I'm trying to say. And before I cut this off, so I guess I'll cut this off in a very a-hole way, as I often like to do. I'll throw my little a-hole comments in there. So I was watching TV, it was normal. Like I'm watching, not TV, but YouTube. I'm watching YouTube, the tube with TOOB. That's how I spell it. You can spell it that way too. I'm watching the tube. And all of a sudden I see this. Now I'll admit this. You want to talk about uncanny valley? Now, this is what I mean. I'm not saying that I'm afraid of freaky things, but what I'm saying is this, is that I know what I consider ugly. Like I said, ugly is subjective though. It doesn't mean it's ugly. It just means I think it's ugly. So I was watching YouTube, and I see this advertisement for this horror movie, and it's about a doll named Megan. And this is the ugliest. God, this thing is so ugly. I'm like, oh my god, this thing is ugly. I'm like, this thing is ugly. This thing is hideous. Like, this thing has a big head, teeny stick legs, stick arms. It has a face of an ugly little. It looks like an ugly little girl, like the ugliest little white child. And I'm not saying it to be racist, because, to be honest, it would probably be even uglier if it was a black child. But this thing is the ugliest little face, the ugliest upturned nose, alien eye. This thing is so ugly. But what I said in my mind was like this. I was like, now, you know what, man? Now, I'm not. This is what I mean about me being an a-hole. I have all types of thoughts. Part of my thoughts was, okay, now this is kind of cool because they have a childlike doll killing people. Okay, that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? It's like you're going there, just like with Chucky. You're making something that's normally supposed to be an innocent doll that would be innocent is now murdering people, most likely. I would assume. That's usually the way horror movies go. They usually murder people. So, on one hand, I thought that. Then on one hand, I thought, Hollywood, your nasty little pedo sauce self probably thinks this is hot, probably, because you're some pedos, so you like that type. You probably think that's sexy or something. You know what I mean? So you want a innocent little, well, what would be innocent? You want basically a child, because when I look at something like that, to me it just looks like a child. You know what I mean? An very ugly child, I'll say, but a child nonetheless. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, you, because I know how you roll. Don't get me wrong, Hollywood. Look here, Hollywood. Look, part of you I appreciate, because look, you make wonderful movies, right? You create a rich, lavish lifestyle for human beings, right? It's Hollywood. You guys make a rich lifestyle for us. But I also know that you're some freaks and some pedophiles and some drug addicts, and you got a lot of nasty stuff going on. And I know this what you're trying to do a lot of times. So, in your nasty political agenda. So what I'm really trying to say is this. I'm trying to say, now I surely hope that you're not on some pedo stuff with any of this new stuff that you're making, but I really have no control anyway. But I'm just slipping that in there just because I had to say it, because you guys don't want to hear that. You can't say that. Oh really? I can't. Well, I just did. I can't say that. Oh, okay. So this is the rant Um, I'm also gonna say, if you don't know what Mugen is, because I plan to put some Mugen footage to this. I thought I'd do like a throwback thing and put some not forgotten characters in there, but some characters that you don't necessarily see so much now in the media, but they're really good characters. They're like throwback characters. Like Guy, Birdie, Strider Hiryu. I thought I'd put some footage of those along with this rant. Um, but if you don't know what Mugen is, like if you actually don't know what Mugen is, go to type in Mugen Archive on Google and or type Mugen Archive or Mugen Mugen on YouTube or Google and try to understand what this game is. So you don't, because some people don't know. They're like, oh, what is this? That's just if you're curious about what it is. And you're probably, honestly, if you're curious about what it is, or you like it, or you're thinking you'd want to play it, you're probably heavily missing out. And me, I'm not really a big gamer, but the thing is, I know that there's things, if you don't know about, you're really missing out. So I'm just gonna let you know what that is, so you can create your own. So you can start your own. I also encourage on this channel, I encourage that if you are getting into Mugen, and if you are a programmer, an animator, or both, that you should make your own characters, right? Now, I actually have a plan in the future, right? In the future, if I ever, maybe I want to accomplish this, but it's like a pipe dream. I do have a dream of trying to commission some people and trying to have a team to create a Mugen game where we can put our original characters and I can put some of my own original characters I've drawn into Mugen. You know what I mean? Make something like what's that game? The Black Heart. Like create something sort of similar to that. And the reason why I say that is because, for me, it's a pipe dream. But the thing is this: Mugen is the perfect platform, the perfect base for you to do just that. Because you can make a character from the ground up. You can make those animations from the ground up. You can program those characters from the ground up. And if you're talented enough, you can make a really cool game.